Hi, I'm CP, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing this 1996 classic. It's Chrome by Azzaro. So Chrome is a well-known fragrance. It's been around since 1996. The perfumer behind it was Gérard Haury, and this particular batch code, since I hear is being reformulated recently, is 0946023. To do this review, we're going to be using the Bespoke Unit Fragrance Formula. This is a quantifiable review matrix we use for every single fragrance review. You can download a blank copy in the description below to do your own fragrance reviews, or you can head to the description below as well and see our full final written review of Chrome, and you can use the final PDF to keep track of the scores. Well, there's no better way than jumping straight in. I've reviewed a couple of fragrances today, so I'm going to do this on the back of my wrist. And just quickly shake it so it evaporates. And there we go. So I admit that when I get my first whiff of this, every time I try it, it's a little bit sour. It kind of makes my nose curl, but that dissipates very quickly, and we're left with a very aromatic and unusual head, composed of there's some aromatic rosemary leaves, some round fruity bergamot, lemon, so a zesty little bit of lemon, and pineapple leaf. I've heard people refer it to as the pineapple itself. I believe it's much more herbaceous, and I would liken it to the leaf rather than the fruit. Shortly afterwards, you will get a heart, which is more floral. It has an oakmoss and coriander accord, which is quite pleasant. You have the spiciness of the coriander and the fresh moistness of the oakmoss. Meanwhile, there's a little bit of neroli and jasmine, so you have this tiny little bit of citrus influence that is played against the floral bouquet. This is accompanied by Rosewood, which, by the way, transitions into the base as well and even dominates the base. Rosewood is quite fragrant and is accompanied by cedar wood, so quite fresh, woody notes, tonka bean, which is very gourmand and alluring, as well as labdanum, so a little bit of floral muskiness in there as well. It's not overly musky, it's quite light. To be honest, I'm not huge on the base. I find it to be a little bit soapy, a little bit fatty, a little bit aldehydic, but it is pleasant nonetheless. And overall, this makes it an aromatic citrus fragrance. With regards to the performance, I found that the sillage was probably the most effective property of its strength overall. It leaves a nice trail behind the wearer. The projection is very tight. You'd have to wear a lot of it, and by then it'd be overwhelming if anyone got close. Or you'd have to expect people to come a little bit closer to you, and then they'll be able to appreciate some of this fragrance. And finally, the longevity, quite short. Expect about 4 or 5 hours of wear before needing to top it back up. Needless to say, the seasonality of this fragrance is very much on the hot weather side. In fact, this is an excellent fragrance for the summertime. I'd say it'd be better for summer rather than spring. Maybe for spring it's just lacking in those floral tones, but definitely performs well in the heat. For winter and autumn, this probably isn't a fragrance that you would choose. In terms of third-party feedback, this was an interesting fragrance to read about. Generally speaking, people find it quite pleasant and inoffensive. It's clean, fresh, very soapy, and some people have compared it to stepping out the shower. And another person, which I thought was interesting, one of their remarks was it reminds them of a summer's day in an English garden, probably when it's not raining. Generally speaking, this, I wouldn't say has aged much. It's still quite relevant today. It tended to be more popular among men and women in their 30s and above. Younger people, I wouldn't say that they were put off by it. They found it to be overall quite inoffensive, but didn't find it to be particularly alluring either. As for our impressions of this fragrance, which refers to our usage thoughts, as mentioned earlier, this tended to be more popular for people in their 30s or above. Indeed, as a very zesty, fresh Youthful fragrance, I think it's best for men in their 30s. It's definitely a daytime fragrance, something you would want to wear when the sun is up. And it is certainly a casual or office fragrance. I wouldn't really wear this for a date or a formal occasion. And finally, the masculinity is moderate, kind of middle of the road, a bit on the mild side maybe, but certainly not strong, virile, or overbearing. Finally, the presentation. The bottle is very nice, lovely, elegant shape. It's kind of curved, oval side, and then a square front. I like the cap, this machined finish at the top, as well as a very nicely performing atomizer that produces a very thin mist that isn't too widespread either. The packaging is okay. You can see that it uses the cap as the main reference point here at the center. It's silver and blue, much like the fragrance itself, and it says Chrome Azzaro. It's not particularly eye-catching. It would make certainly a decent gift, but it doesn't really scream its identity. And finally, the value. This fragrance costs only $40 from our favorite retailers. You can see a link below in the description. So it's definitely worthwhile if you're looking for a fragrance of this type. So in conclusion, this fragrance scored 76 out of 100, which is a very easy 4-star review. Just a couple of points away from a 5-star review. Nevertheless, I would certainly consider this more 4 stars than 5. It's very cooling, very refreshing, pleasant overall fragrance that's inoffensive and ideal for a hot summer's day. Versatile, understated, and great for a casual professional man who's looking for an affordable signature scent. That's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want more men's lifestyle content like this, head to bespokeunit.com or subscribe to our channel, hit that notifications button, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.